love. Okay, now you've got her. You gotta keep her happy, right? So we're on the 88 ways to pleasure the feminine. And today I'm giving you the foundational element, the number one thing that creates the entire foundation for all 88 ways to pleasure the feminine. And there's more, of course, but so we're going to talk about the sacred geometry of relationship. Okay, so, Nassim Haramein, a wonderful quantum physicist, talks about the tetrahedron, the sacred geometry within all cells, within the pattern that reemerges everywhere, that is related to the flower of life, those circles inside each other, the spiral that Leonardo da Vinci drew, that the great people who designed the cathedrals repeat that pattern, right? So the sacred geometry of relationship uses the tetrahedron of creation. This is all a vision I received, so you're not going to find it somewhere else, but I think it makes a lot of sense. So what we have is, there are the two sacred triangles, right? You have the masculine triangle and you have the feminine triangle. And they when they overlap, they create that Star of David, the star within a boundary, a sphere, right? And that, if that keeps repeating within itself, it creates a fractile. Okay, so what we have today in society is we have the masculine pyramid very strong. Everybody's been living by the masculine pyramid. But the trouble is, darling, if you put the masculine pyramid first, the feminine pyramid actually disappears completely. Because the only way she exists, since she's yin and he's yang, outward dominating energy, she only exists if she comes first. Otherwise, she's overwhelmed and disappears. So let's look at what this means. Okay, so the masculine pyramid, the top of it is spirituality. Now, spirituality, when merged with the feminine, is very open, and it's very about enlightenment and meditation and exploring the beyond that we don't know. But when you are missing the feminine element, which is mystery, it becomes religion. A religion which is very doctrinaire and rigid and limited, because it only sees from one advantage point of that cultural perspective, and excludes the feminine because she's missing. The masculine's coming first. She's missing. Then God's a man, and she can't be a priest or a minister, and there is no image of God the Mother. Now, some of the religions have begun, like Guadalupe, and Catholicism has some images of God the Mother, the divine Mary, but she's got to be without sexuality, and she can't even have given birth to the baby, like it's somehow immaculate. She can't have had sex with a guy. So the whole thing is still divorced from woman, which is sexuality, hey, and embodiment. Okay, so, excuse me. Okay, so you have this pyramid of the masculine. The top of it is spirituality. Now, this corner here is going to be finances, power, money, okay? And the way of getting more power and money and career. And it's a very strong foundation of the pyramid, of the masculine pyramid, okay? Now, over here is intellect, the masculine, amazing, beautiful ability to invent things and learn things and think of things and be distant from things, be logical, be detached. And this is a great skill because it means it's inventiveness, it's technology, it's it's building, it's engineering and thinking concepts of philosophy and psychology. But if we have this pyramid without the feminine, because he's coming first, then what is in the center? What's in the center? What is he serving? Well, what he does is he takes this one, this money and power one, and he puts it at the center because he doesn't know what else to do. And it becomes the whole focus of his whole life. All right? Because that's his favorite foundation. More than the intellect in the inventing, he just loves the power and money because it makes him feel excited. Okay, nothing wrong with that. But missing the feminine and serving money, all meaning in life goes away. All joy, all fun, all sensuality, all sexuality, all the feminine elements of beauty in the arts. Now, why do they all go away? Well, because now let's look at the feminine triangle. So the feminine triangle's up here like this. So her point is down at the bottom, is her foundation is home. Food, cooking, making a beautiful space that everyone lives in, gardening, the creation and growing of food, being in nature, and weaving and crafts that are like clothing and fabric, everything related to beautiful home environment. You know, the weaving of rugs and the baskets and all of these beautiful things. Now, up here, her other triangles, though, are really interesting. So this one over here would be and they're all related to the chakras. So this is the Expression Chakra. It's about communication. It's about the 5 arts. So communication is expressiveness. So it's like dance and singing and music and art and storytelling and painting and theater and all the expressiveness of emotions and communication that becomes clear. And, you know, instead of hitting the other person over the head, give me that toy, it's use your words type thing, right? But of course, when her triangle's not there, the men are without, and the masculine within us is without communication. We resort to guns and just hit the kid over the head to grab the toy. Like, that foundation of communication is so incredibly important that without her, the world falls apart. And the arts are what bring people joy and fun and engagement with life. So this aspect of her triangle over here is also creativity. Okay, it's birth. It's the baby that gets born and nourished. It's everything that's creative birth. Okay. Oh, but then what's over here? What's this triangle? Wow, this over here is sexuality. This is the 5 senses. This is experientiality without it being about an agenda to get anything done or created. This is simply beingness. So this is her form of enlightenment. This is the without the need to be or do anything to be worthwhile. This is experiencing the 5 senses, experiencing nature, experiencing the body, okay? And the health of the body. This is also exercise. This is like, even though we have dance over here as an art form, and over here is just pure on, you know, hiking and nature and the 5 senses and openness, openness to experience and adventure in the being place. So what is in the center of the feminine triangle? Of course, we know in the center of the woman's triangle is love. It is love in all of the aspects. Love with her lover, love with her children, love with her family and her community. And so it's relationships, it's family, friends, lover. It's love, 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 love. So when you put the feminine triangle first, you put the feminine first and you listen to your woman first, and you serve her wishes and dreams first, what happens is love comes into the center. Money drops down as a foundational element of keeping everything rolling, right? And career. But it's only one little part. you got the money over here, then you got the intellectual growth over here, you got spirituality up here, which now includes the feminine. You've got the arts, which are bringing joy and love, and all the creativity that your mission is about. And at the root, you've got wonderful food, and you've got gardening and organic eating, hopefully, and this beautiful home being created. And then you have beingness and sexuality, and that's not the foundation. It's just wonderful as this amazing way to open. So but with love at the center, and love encompasses, love unites both triangles. The feminine aspects, when they are primary, they put everything in their place. And the man, now he's got a mission, he's got a meaning, he's got something to serve. And what happens when the two triangles overlap? This is so amazing. The boundary comes in, the circle, boom, pops into being. That's the protection, that's the orb, because all of this is actually four-dimensional, right? It's actually pyramids within each other, not flat triangles, and it's a sphere rather than a flat circle, right? And the fifth dimension is the feeling level, the unseen being level. Woo! Okay, so now, because we have been so divorced from valuing the feminine, now society has lost all the arts in the schools, and they're not funding the arts, and artists can barely survive, and sexuality has become this thing that the men know they need, but they're just going to have to buy it, or buy porn, because without her at the center, she's not really open to sex anymore. And if she's having sex, it's really masculine sex. It's just pump and grind and then get it done, and then she's on to the next. Like, she's not really opening her heart, or she's all about gimme. So, because she's not in the feminine, she's in the masculine too. She's lost the value of the feminine. And when you lose the feminine, you're not putting her first. Now it's fast food, because that bottom foundational pyramid of hers isn't really there. So the wonderful cooking and the eating together and the taking time to get really good healthy food. Now, oh no, sorry, we're just doing fast food. We're doing as quick as we can, and we're eating alone, on the fly, in the car. So everything that makes life juicy and beautiful and wonderful has to do with the feminine, darling. She's being, rather than doing to get somewhere. She's already there. So, but there's nothing wrong with us having our masculine intact, where we have somewhere to go. We've got aims and goals. We're using our intellect to grow and invent. And hopefully when you bring in the feminine, the intellect of the masculine also becomes intuitive, where he's feeling things from his gut, from his instinctual level. His intellect is no longer just mind thoughts that are not that valuable. They actually become his mind. This chakra starts to become deeply intuitive and clairvoyant, where he's following his dreams, he's hearing his dreams. I'm saying he because I'm saying that aspect of us as well, like the masculine within the woman, the feminine within the man. So we're also talking about being a whole being. And if you want to be a whole happy being with these two triangles, you got to still put your feminine first within yourself. So this is the foundational element of the 88 ways to pleasure the feminine. This is the very first one. The next one will be housework. I put that one first because the caller says on my mind. I'm a girl. And I was talking about, help with the housework. Join with the housework, but don't do too much. Don't defeminize her. She's got to ground herself, just like you have to ground yourself with your tools, with your motorbikes, whatever it is, bicycling through nature. You're doing your man thing, fishing or something. She grounds herself through housework. If you wanted to have that an equal domain, it will defeminize her. Okay, so. And hopefully she gets this, that if you're working, making money a lot of the time, that if she can provide a space for you to come home to that's amazing food, not that she's tied to it like a slave, but that out of her heart, after she's gotten her creative work done, of course she wants to ground herself by cooking some incredible food and creating that environment to be, good for your body and your soul, music. Okay, so the boundary that goes around the two triangles, it's really important, because this is the other thing. Without the feminine being served first, there's no uniting and there's no boundary. So everything's without containership. So actually the true masculine, which contains the feminine, is not there. He's not really a man yet. He's a boy, because he's just serving his limited view of what the world is about, his intellectual creations and his thinking and his religious pious ideas of everything right and wrong and how she should do it, he says, and then his his money and power. Oh, empty. So he's not a man, he's a boy, because the man doesn't become a man until he's had children, until he's served the feminine and served the birth of life, and made those children be okay, heart, body, and soul, not just body, like not just providing money, but he's cared about them, right? So this is what's so amazing. I was talking to a new friend about this, about how there's just sometimes it feels like there's two different kinds of people in the world. There's the people who've had children and the people who haven't. It's because the people who've had children or who have raised, say, their brothers and sisters, they know what life's about because they have served the heart of life. They've served the feminine, which is birth, right? So don't feel bad if you haven't had kids. But do realize that becoming a servant of the feminine is this thing that men want to avoid. They're like, I'm not serving her, I'm the man, she's got to do what I say. Well, yes, he, in a certain kind of way, he's got to feel he's the man. And like with my wolf dog friend, he's got to run free a certain amount of the time, or he cannot be a king. He is a king because of feeling himself in his power, running free in the forest. Rajananda, I call him. But you've got this thing where, like in the indigenous cultures, this is really important to understand. I was reading a book about indigenous cultures, and the women were asking, what's wrong with the American men and a lot of the Western men? Why are they cutting down all the forests, like all of them? Like, why don't they ever stop with their industry? And like, why aren't they listening to the women? And the anthropologist was like, what do you mean, listen to the women? He said, well, in our culture, the men do what the women ask. They come to the women and they say, what do you need now? Women say, oh, we need firewood. And the men go out, and they start chopping trees. And then the women's like, okay, enough. We need to keep that forest. Like, those are our fruit trees. Don't cut them all down. Those are shade for the babies. Now, when the men are like, okay, what do you want now? The women are like, water. They're like, oh, okay. The men are building a dam and they're making water. And then the women are like, got the water. Stop. Don't ruin all the streams now. Men are like, what do you need? Women are like, attention. We need you home. We need you to be with the kids and us. Like let's be together. And by the men coming back to the women over and over again to find out what the women need, now they're serving life. And they are also in their masculine power of producing, providing, creating a context that makes her safe and feeling like there's this partnership in the whole sustenance of life, sustaining life. So if you think of the providership that they talk about with the masculine energy, you could think of it as sustaining. So she's always sustaining. But he's joining in the sustaining by providing, right? Protection. But when the men are missing the feminine triangle, then what they do with the whole protection aspect of them, which is very instinctual, is they start getting into